Are you saying that when we first there's a chance he was actually...
No. It is Kifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body. The Kifumi is dead, and that is what...
Really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
I think I found it now.
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance he was actually...
No. Kifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discovery. Kifumi's dead body had been...
No. Yes! Oh.
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man.
No, actually, that was plenty. He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice. I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies. It didn't seem weird at the time.
Exactly. If we were actually...
In reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of... There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
I don't believe he was ever gonna find dead!
That is the worst, but honestly, I do not...
Okay then it should become clear what
This whole thing is... Well, here's one thing we did the first time we found him, and then, well, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw him, it was in the...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
Then, was he...
Of course not. It is impossible. This is ridiculous. Well, here's one thing. The first time we found him, and then, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw him, it was in the...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
No, that's wrong! In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item. I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera. And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was... Princess Rose. From Demon Angel Princess.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point.
And I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi. What I'm saying is,
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
but who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
It must have been him.
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive and then he pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out. So he just dumped it everywhere. But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. Oh, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed to the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door, which means when Hina and Sakura got to the...
And it could only have been Hifumi.
He convinced us all he was dead. And when he saw, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means...
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like to...
There's more.
Oh, absolutely. The sink, you know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants. Okay, well, forget about the pants for now.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Wait, this one's Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
See, then this
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hira, and that person could only have been... I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello, over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but so whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Happy! Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Happy is Hifumi, right? Oh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
I can select.
Happy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Happy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
6 a.m. The time doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with TikTok! Happy had the note, right? And the person it was must have been Happy!
But remember what the note said.
What time did it say? 6 a.m. The time doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong! No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. You've already proven that, but there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room.
Which is where Taka was killed.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that. No further objections!
And someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it? Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Where's your proof?
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, if I'm right about this, I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
And Taka's scrap. And Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from its death port, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa, yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing.
Sorry. When we found him in the repository, the second body discovered it.
So then...
Whoever did is the mastermind.
He was killed in the repository.
So, he must have been killed.
During that time, we'd all... In other words, during that time...
Wait! But stop trying to steal the spotlight! Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
Weapon?
Because, I mean, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost... But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, and put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were... But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the cult... Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both...
So then, what would... What was used to kill him? Was it just maybe justice?
There's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody know this? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 with a fact check at wintergear.com/hammertime for more info.
Shoot!
What was used to kill him?
Shoot!
What was used? Was it just maybe justice?
There's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody know? Sounds like a Justice Hammer. Check out wintergear.com.
The murder weapon had to be one of Ben's.
No, that's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean. And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repair.
Whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think the way the graduation rule works, so the idea that anyone... Based on the rules that have been even if more than one, only the one who actually cares, assuming the rule holds true. It is simply incorrect.
That is how the rule works.
But that only really applies if there's one. In this case, however, there were 2 murders.
Based on the rules that have even if more than one, only the one who actually cares, assuming the rule holds true. It is simply...
That is.
But that only really applies if in this case, however, there were 2 murders.
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
That is.
But that only really applies if there's, in this case, however, there were 2 murders.
Based on the rules that have been even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out, assuming the rule holds true.
No, that's wrong.
Wrong, Celeste.
Since there were 2 murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been 1 murder, then yeah, naturally, if only one person...
Risk versus reward.
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in this. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some...
You're saying that 2 people could act.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, if they made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping.
So in this case, there wasn't one. Instead, each person killed someone, creating 2 separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime. Just by creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target, and then to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful!
You think so? I can't...
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then...
That's problem numero uno right now!
I think you'll know who it is.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now. I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that the idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting within 10 feet of that shit, brain-fat, lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Just to be clear, there is...
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, considering what we've learned so far.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit. Thus, the only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush, the adults are talking now. As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said? We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor.
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
And when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said? Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
It is to get us to divide into two groups.
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up. Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor. Everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it!
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah? Wait,
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it looking back. I can say that one little slip-up was your undoing. I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared.
I remember her saying that.
Then pay attention. Sakura, then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste and the four. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some. If you're really not the culprit,
All I said was, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die. We are going to die. And that is all.
That's all it took. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said was, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die. We are going to die. Just like those guys died. Shoot! All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to. We are going to die. And that is all.
And that's all it takes.
what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. Stan, they must be. We are all going to die here. We are going to die.
No, what's wrong?
Those guys, but Hifumi was the only one who murdered at that
That's
point.
right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imagination.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture?
It has to be something, so let's put the suit on.
Yes, I happen to know. In other words, it is as honest as everything I told.
Simple. Are we sure that
What could you possibly...
surely there are other...
No.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it?
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Dressed me up in that suit after I passed it. Then you just dragged me across the room and you tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit, there's no way they could stand up straight. Then the fortune telling idiot!
No way! You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just dragged me across the room and you tried to make me look like the...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just dragged me across the room and you tried to make me look like the...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand. And the fortune telling idiot!
No way! You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just dragged me across the room and you tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit, there's no way they could...
No, it's wrong.
Oh, Celeste. I haven't told you guys, but I have a deep hatred for Celeste.
Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend its waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste, clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. One little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying? When we asked him, he said, and I quote, Yasuhiro! Yasuhiro Kakakure!
Right, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
You're confusing statements.
He did say Yasuhiro.
Kyoko,
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's right! Our last name!
Exactly. I know, so Fumi did mean to say heroes.
I'm sure it was just decent.
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
The name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
No. Hold on. And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit. Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather. Yasuhiro is a loser's name. Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What?
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself?
Fumi was trying to tell us that he wanted us to know the killer's last name.
If there's one person,
It would have to be you, Celeste.
how many times can I? Celestia Ludenberg, God damn it!
How long do you plan to go on?
I'm not pretending. And since you have no way to contradict, that's the only truth there is! Moron!
He wanted us to know the killer's last name.
If there's one person,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You have it.
how many times can I? Celestia Ludenberg!
How long do you plan to go on?
I'm not pretending. It's since you have no way to contradict, the only truth there is! Moron!
Damn it.
He wanted us to know the killer's last name.
If there's one person,
It would have to be you, Celeste.
how many times can I? Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
How long do you plan to go on?
I'm not pretending. And since you have no way to contradict,
No, that's wrong! That's it! What? Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before. So all we have to do is check her handbook. That's how we can find out Celeste. Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened, please?
even when I'm put in check because until the game's over, you
Fine then. Let me go over the case again, and that'll bring...
on? Please.
First, here's exactly what happened. First, that someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. They drugged him. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, they called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where the murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crime. So, for these attacks, the killers put the first fake incident was there. The killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1. They wanted to make sure we bought the second fake incident, but this time, they planted just with these two incidents that the suspect was in. We fell right into their trap. While we did that, this was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and turned the room into a crime scene. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, and once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them, and they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
This is a good place to stop, I think.
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
No, I'm continuing.
I lost when was the last time I was for they hang.
Then you admit it?
This select Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
So,
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't
interesting.
That was easy.
Okay, Monokuma. Or I suppose this is the end.
It is indeed the moment we've all been. If you would, please locate your lever and when the votes are tallied, will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be?
I knew it. So then,
Say what?
just a second. In other words,
Indeed.
I see.
Actually,
What?
are you okay with this? So then,
Damnation! Say what?
as for me,
What? Damnation! Say what? The unforgivable!
most unfortunate. Actually,
What?
indeed. Honestly,
I swear I will save her!
actually,
I see.
Can you hurry up and see this? Hurry up and see this execution.
you little bitch. This is fine. Honestly,
Can we hurry up and see this execution?
as this is fine. There is nothing to be done. Just the worst. Oh. Do you understand? What is this? Yes, indeed. Isn't it wonderful?
Hey,
What? Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? Which is why, actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again in another life.
Move! You can run away. Move!
gonna do?
Let me.
Too bad. How strange. Hey! What?
So then, you... Who? Hey,
Howie. Hello. Well? See ya.
so...
Hey,
Indeed. Hey,
What?
so...
Come on. What? Goodbye.
well then.
Yo!
Okay.
Shall we go? So then, you... However... What? Indeed. What? It's true. That's fine. Correct. Correct.
How dare this wasn't part of the deal!
I've made a decision. I will no longer retreat. I've made my decision. I'm going to resist you.
But you haven't forgot what I'm holding.